It's the Sean Widmer Podcast. It's a journal by someone that just really doesn't like to write.
A new week of podcasts starts right now. At least for me recording it. I don't know when you listen, but thank you to those of you who are tuning in today. It means a lot. Let's just get through the beginning stuff, shall we? Thank you so much to the Patreon members. Patreon.com/Sean Widmer Podcast. It's going, and it is helping keep the lights on, helps pay for the server space, helps pay for the podcasting service that I use. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for that. I know, we get people who come, people who go, people who come, people who go. Thank you. Thank you for everybody who even decides to spend a little bit of their money to support this. So hopefully you like it enough. Hopefully you like it enough that it's worth your, $5, $10, $20, $50 million a month. Okay. We do our look at the Apple Podcast 5-star reviews. If we get a new 5-star review, we read it to kick off the podcast. We didn't get one this week. Okay, we don't have a new one, which means I have to come up with a shout-out. So we're going to do that today on the podcast, by the way. I need to real quickly talk about sports real quick. A big weekend event here for the Widmer family. Horse racing in Lexington. We're going to talk horse racing. Kelly's, what are you into? We're going to dive into some food. We'll do the comments and get out of here on a Monday. Thanks again for tuning in. So the shout out today goes to Nate Bargatze into something else. Nate Bargatze was on Saturday Night Live again this last week, and he did the George Washington, I need to figure out what it's called, Washington's Dream 2. So when Nate Bargatze hosted SNL his first time, he did a George Washington, hilarious George Washington skit crossing the Delaware. Okay, and I don't know if Nate Bargatze was hosting. Let's see. Oh yeah, he returned to host. And I missed all of this, but I just saw this sketch popped up on social media. He did Washington's Dream 2. I'd highly recommend it. He is so funny. Go to YouTube, type in Washington's Dream 2. You're going to get the second version of this. I need to go back and watch SNL. He's worth watching. That is a man who is just simply hilarious. And someone I'm like wildly jealous of how his brain works and how effortless it is for him to come up with hilarious sayings and things to say all the time. I listened to his podcast for a while, and he was always funny on it. And I thought that's an unbelievable talent to just truly be funny at the drop of a hat. So go check that out. I'd highly recommend it. This week's Washington's Dream 2, they focus a lot on English as a language here in the United States and how there's a lot of weirdness with different words, and he makes fun of, the spelling of the name Jeff, how there's two different ways to spell it, and all these things. Excuse me. Jeez, hang on. My throat is dead. Okay. I think we're better now. Sorry about that. So it made me laugh. He's very funny. The sketch writers are very funny. But I wanted to give a shout out to somebody who I think was equally as funny with the English language stuff. And it's on Instagram. I think the guy is extremely clean, at least the ones I've seen of him, and these are the ones I'd recommend. English Class Day. His name is It's Bobby Finn. It's Bobby Finn, Finn. And he does these videos, a lot of these little sketches on Instagram. I'm sure they're on TikTok as well. But he has ones that are titled English Class and then whatever day. So I think he just posted day 16. So it's 16th one of these. I think they're hilarious. So my shout out today goes to sort of Nate Bargatze. I never know how to say his name. Nate Bargatze, I believe, is the correct way that he pronounced it to Jimmy Fallon. But It's Bobby Finn, also hilarious. Check him out on Instagram. He will make you laugh with his English class days, whatever. You got 16 of them to watch at least. Okay, let's do it. Let's get into the podcast today. I forget every spring and summer about this and how affected I am by it, but it reared its head last week. As Tuesday, I was a miserable human. Monday night, miserable human. It was such a... Hey, last week, you didn't get Trivia 21. And it was probably because of last Monday night what happened. The Seattle Seahawks lost again. I'm recording this on Sunday night. They lost again today. And after last Monday night, with that loss, where they were sort of coming back, and I thought they might have had enough bullets in the chamber to come back and win, but they just couldn't hold off the Detroit Lions offense. This week, they're going against a crappy New York Giants team. They lose it. They get a field goal blocked at the very end of the game. And not only a field goal blocked in return for a touchdown, just to add insult to injury on the scoreboard. But the game ends terribly. They lose to the Giants, 2-game losing streak. The very first headline I see from ESPN that comes through said, "Are the Seahawks actually any good?" That's what the headline was. And I was like, this sucks. So I am trying to fight through my disappointment because I live and breathe and bleed Seahawks every week, and I hate when they lose. So we're doing the podcast tonight, trying to stay upbeat, trying to stay uplifting, and trying to fight through the fact the Seahawks are now on a 2-game slide, and I don't know if they're good. I think they are, but they couldn't stop the Giants. I feel like the Giants ran for 400 yards today. It was insane. Every time they handed off to their backup running back, who is starting today because Devin Singletary was out with an injury, this guy just ran like a gazelle. It was crazy. He just ran down the field. No one touched him. He was like the best running back ever. Come on, Seahawks. We have to rally. Thursday night football this week for the Seahawks against the 49ers. I will be there watching it. I need to look actually real quick. I'm recording this Sunday night. It's 9:50 when I'm recording this. Has Sunday night football started yet? Yes, it has. Okay, the Sunday night football just started. 12 minutes ago in the first quarter. They just started. Cowboys drove down and kicked a field goal. Long lightning delay. There's going to be football until 1 a.m. here in Lexington. Now, this weekend in Lexington, what a time. My first time really experiencing this as a Lexingtonian and going on our own free will, planning it ourselves, going to a place called Keeneland here in Lexington, Kentucky. Horse racing at its finest here in Lexington, the horse racing capital of the universe. I actually don't know if that's. Let me see. What is the horse racing capital of the world? I think it's us. Lexington, Kentucky is the horse racing. Lexington is the horse capital of the world. I'm just going to read this as it says it. Lexington is the horse capital of the world, center of the thoroughbred breeding universe, and home to the Kentucky Horse Park, as well as the historic Keeneland Race Course. So Keeneland has their races this month. I don't know exactly what days they are. I know for sure they're Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They might be Thursday. It is phenomenal. It's a day of races. This weekend was opening weekend. You go watch 10, 11 races, and then you go home, but it's a party. People get there early. They tailgate. Keeneland is on just hundreds of acres of space. There's a really awesome horse track on part of it, and then there's fields where people park and tailgate. There's like the tailgating part. Then there's a fancier part where there's a really cool restaurant, a thoroughbred club. More on that in 1 second. It just it kind of fits for all kinds. I think it's phenomenal what they do there. But we got to go this week. I've been there one other time, and it was for my wife's 10-year high school anniversary years ago. So we went to Keeneland the first time for this 10-year anniversary, not because we were going to Keeneland to go for the horse racing. And it's a story I told a long time ago. I sweat through all my clothes. I was miserable. So this weekend we decided we're going to go to Keeneland. Opening weekend. It's sold out Saturday. I mean, wall-to-wall people. Once we got in there, wall-to-wall people. But our plans kind of changed, and my wife's aunt and her husband, so my wife's aunt and uncle, they are members to something called the Thoroughbred Club. They are diehard horse racing fans. My uncle is a diehard horse racing fan. Horse racing gambling fan. And so they call us. They're like, look, we're going that weekend. Do you want to go with us? We can get you into sort of this different area. It'd be kind of fun. We can go to this buffet for lunch. It's a fancy place on Keeneland. Like you can come check it out. So we're like, yeah, let's do it. We audible. And it was good and bad. There was good and there was bad. There was way more good than there was bad. But the number one problem we ran into as I'm getting ready to go to Keeneland, the last time I went to Keeneland, I dressed up and sweat through all my dress clothes. I'd been in Keeneland and saw you can wear jeans and a polo. You can wear jeans and a T-shirt. Today, I saw a picture. Today, Sunday, my brother-in-law Patrick went with his wife and kids. He was wearing a Kentucky Wildcats blue T-shirt and joggers. Okay? And then everyone else around him is dressed up, and there's some people in the background who are not, and that's just how Keeneland is. Just go and have fun. So that's how I'm planning my experience, and then we get the invite. And the invite includes mandatory tie and jacket. And so that kind of rattled me. And so I did it. We went tie and jacket, but I will forever be on record as saying if I have to dress up for something, I will have less fun. Period. And I've said it a million times, so it's not like this is groundbreaking news. Someone's not hearing this and going like, "What?" This is old hat at this point. I don't mind people dressing up. There were dudes there that had the sickest suits on, and I was like, that is your wheelhouse, your comfort zone. You are killing it. I love it. I'm glad you got to dress up and wear that stuff. That's not for me. I'm a T-shirt and jeans guy. That's what I feel comfortable in. It's what I feel like I look the best in. And so that's, ideally a hat, T-shirt, and jeans. I'm going to be maximum comfort, and I'm going to have the maximum amount of fun because I'm going to be more confident going in. As soon as I get in the jacket, the tie, my leak confidence, I feel sweaty. I'm nervous that I'm going to sweat all the time. I don't feel right. I'm moving weird, and I don't enjoy it as much. But that was the only negative of the entire experience at Keeneland. An event I'd recommend everyone go to at some point if you've ever been interested in horse racing. Come to Lexington and go to Keeneland. Period. It's awesome. So, by the way, Thoroughbred Club, this exclusive little area at Keeneland, the hat I'm wearing, if you're watching on YouTube, that does not match this outfit. I get it. It doesn't go with this shirt. But the hat I'm wearing is this corduroy. You can only get it at the Thoroughbred Club. It part of Keeneland. It's not like in the Keeneland store, their main store. So I was like, yeah, if I'm going to be in there, I'm going to get something. I'm going to get something that I can take with me that said I was in the Thoroughbred Club. So anyways, all that to say, we had a cool experience because we got to kind of go into this other world of how Keeneland goes. Here's a couple takeaways. Number one, I have no idea how you bet horses, and I need to get better at it. My experience betting horses leading up to going to Keeneland was Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, where you could go into these little gambling stores in the game and you could play video poker, or you could bet on horses. And I would go bet on horses. I'd go around, drive around the city, make a little bit of money. I'd go into these gambling sites and I would max bet one of the worst odds horses, hoping to just make a quick, easy ton of money. And I was talking to Ryan Ferguson about it, and he was like, dude, you remember how that went for you? And I do. This Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is a great game. Here's one of the reasons why. In that game, they would, of course, the casino would loan you money to gamble. So if you went in, you had $10,000 you'd done a bunch of missions, you made $10,000, go into the casino, gamble it all, lose it, they would let you take out a loan that you had to pay back, right, in the game. It's like, whatever, this is fake. But the problem was, and I played it real, I know Ryan, God bless him, he's fine doing this, my brain doesn't work this way. He would go in and gamble. If he didn't hit, he would just restart the game and then go back in and gamble until he won. I would play it real, and it's like if I lost, I lost. I got in a ton of debt, and I was like, okay, I'm never going to have money in this game. They send mobsters after you to get the money. They send the collectors after you, and they are in some of like the toughest cars in the game to avoid. They were cars that could take a beating. All their guys had the best weapons, and they would ruin the game for you. Like, you couldn't do your quests because the entire time you're trying to do your mission, you got guys sideswiping your car. They're shooting out your tires, making it impossible. The second you get out of your vehicle, they're all shooting at you. It was crazy. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. So it was a great little bonus feature they had in a 10 out of 10 video game. So anyways, that was my experience with horse racing. I would just bet a lot of money on the lowest odds. So we get into the Keeneland world, and Uncle Richard is like, look, we're going to learn how to gamble. I did not learn, but I saw a bunch of stuff. And the amount of ways that people are gambling and the way the different kind of bets you can wager, it is insane. It's ridiculously fun, but it is insane. And I knew my uncle was into it big time when he was betting on the horses there. You know, they do a race and then it's a 20-some minute break. So it's like every half hour another race happens. Well, they clean the infield up or whatever it is, the track up, and get ready for the next one. They do a track on the dirt, and then they do a track on the grass, and then a track on the dirt, or race in the dirt, race in the grass, race in the dirt. Oh, hang on. I got movement on the monitor. Trying to see if Huck's awake. No, we're good. And that's how that works. They flip-flop in between those so they can get everything ready. But yeah, 30 minutes in between races. And so my uncle is betting, I'm betting. I'm not winning anything. I didn't win a single bet. Anna was the only one. She picked a horse that won, and she won, and then I lost her money immediately. But my uncle was like, oh, I just hit a big one. And he bet something and won $700. And I was like, you just won $700 on that race? He's like, no. While in the in-between on my app, I'm betting all the horse tracks. And I was like, see, this is the world. This is the world of horse betting. This is where it leads you to. You are celebrating a win that happened in California just now in between races because the races here aren't happening fast enough. I was proud of it. Anyways, the gambling was cool. I thought it was really fun. I'd love to go back with just, a couple bucks. I spent too much money gambling there on Saturday, and because we had planned on it, we kind of planned this being a fun getaway. We had a babysitter for the kids all day, and we just we budgeted a fun weekend, and so we knew it was coming. But next time I go, I would probably just go with Mike and take $20, wear a t-shirt, and gamble and see if we could turn $20 into $40, something like that. Okay. We did have one horse racing thing that was crazy. So because of where we were at and because of where Jamie and Richard have access as members, we were in these cool booths, these really cool booths right where the finish line is up in the grandstands. And at one point, this race is getting ready to go, and this group of people dressed to the nines, these dudes, come rolling into the two boxes next to us, the one directly next to us and the one next to that. And they look like somebody. And sure enough, they were the owners of a horse that was in the next race. And they were Latinos. I think they were de Mexico. And I started hearing them speaking Spanish. So I'm like, well, I'm going to jump in here. So I started hollering at them in Spanish. They loved it. I'm like, who are we cheering for? And they're like, número uno. And I'm like, okay, vámonos, número uno. So we're going crazy cheering for number one. Ferocious was their horse's name. So these guys are rowdy, right? The race is getting ready to go. They're all hyped up. They're kind of bouncing around in the boxes. The race starts. It's getting loud. They're starting to cheer. Their horse jumps out to an early lead. Then another horse comes and takes the lead. Then their horse comes back around the corner and is in the lead. And then a horse came from around the outside and just edged out their horse, just edged it out. And so they came in second place. And watching these guys go from maximum hype to ultimate deflation was insane. They were ready to party, and then the second that horse lost, they didn't even speak to each other, not a goodbye to us, just silence, and they exited out of the premises, I imagine just right across the street to the Kentucky airport, the Lexington airport, and took off to wherever they go to train their horses, and that's just how I assumed that went for them. But it was really fun being right next to a group of people that were that passionate because their horse was racing in a $750,000 purse race. Very cool. The other takeaway I had from Keeneland, and maybe I'll have more down the road if I remember more stories. They had the coolest way to pour your drinks I've ever seen. And maybe you've seen this. I posted it on my Instagram story. It's gone now. So maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't. They would give you a cup. These cups were just see-through solo cups. Okay, that's what they look like, see-through solo cups. But the bottom had an indent in it, about half an inch up, and a hole in it. Well, that doesn't seem like smart. But over the hole, and around the hole was metal. So there's a metal ring and then plastic. And then they would drop a circular magnet that said Keeneland, and they dropped this magnet down, and so it would cover up the hole and it would magnetize to the metal ring, and then it would seal the bottom of the cup. Very cool. So what they do is they had these cups. They've got the magnet. They would push the cup down onto these beer spigots almost, and the beer would shoot up into the cup, and then the magnet would just drop right back down because of how I think I'm trying to remember how it went. They'd go down on this spout. The magnet would magnetize to the spout, and the spout pushed like down at an angle down, so it didn't shoot up into the magnet. So the magnet stayed magnetized to the spout. The beer would pour down, and it would just fill the cup up from the bottom. From the bottom, fill it up. Then they pull the cup up. The magnet drops down, seals it, and you're off. Now it was super cool. I'd never seen it before. I was in love with it. It seemed like an unbelievable way to fill a beer. It also like you never had the big head at the top. It just poured the beer perfectly. It was great. The problem with it is I am fidgety, and all I could think about the whole time was, I'm going to tap that magnet. There's a hole in the bottom of my cup. Let me tap that magnet. And about 20 times I'd tap it and it would pop up, and then a bunch of beer would spill on my feet, and someone would look at me and be like, "Did you do it again?" And I did it. I think I did it 4 or 5 times. And finally, the last time, Uncle Richard was like, "Dude, stop. There's beer spilling out and it's splashing on everyone's shoes." And I was like, "I know. I'm trying to stop. But there's a hole in the bottom of my cup." and there's a hole in the bottom of my cup, and I need to verify that frequently because my brain can't quite wrap itself around how this magnet is working on the Keeneland beer cups. Very cool. Okay, it was a great time, though. Keeneland was awesome.
Kelly's What Are You Into?
Kelly's What Are You Into? Shout out to Kelly. She is the reason for this part of the podcast. She had once given some feedback that she liked when I talked about things that I'm into, and so she got a segment named after her, and I love her for that. She's great. Great people. So, Kelly, this What Are You Into? Hot and ready pizza. Oh my gosh. A Little Caesars hot and ready. Are they good for you? No. Are they a great underrated menu item in America? Absolutely. I get it. Pizza. People have a lot of preferences on what kind of pizza they like. And they don't like this brand. They don't like this brand. Oh, I only eat the fancy pants pizzas from the restaurant that charges $29 for a regular size pizza, and it's got greens on it and all that. Whatever. I'm glad you like it. Pizza's great, and that's not one that I would pick, but I'm glad there's one for you that you like. Some people like Domino's, some people like Pizza Hut, all these things. A Little Caesars hot and ready. If you have not gotten one of these in a while, they are way better than they get credit for. Are they an amazing pizza? No. But are they really, really good? Yeah. They're hot and they're ready. And they're $7. Okay? I was heading home today. We had to go out. We had left Anna's car out at Keeneland and Ubered. Done the Uber scene yesterday. And we went back to get her car today. And on the way back, she was like, "Look, stop and get yourself something to eat." She was going to go by her parents' house with the older kids. So I've got wood. She's like, "Get yourself something to eat and go home." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll go by." I was like, maybe I'll go by McDonald's or Arby's or something. I'm trying to think of the fast food places on my way home. And I was like, yeah, that doesn't sound great. What sounds great? And then all of a sudden I thought, well, there's a Little Caesars on the way. And if I went to McDonald's, if I went to Arby's, I'm probably spending $10 on a combo. Because the combos immediately are expensive. Your burger, your fries, your drink. And it's going to be between $7 and $12. Or for $7, I can get a hot and ready pizza that I can eat for lunch, dinner, and maybe even a slice or two to take to work the next day. And that's exactly how it played out. So for $7, I'm going to get 3 meals out of it. And it was really good. It was really good. So Little Caesars hot and ready. You get the love today for Kelly's What Are You Into? I'm not going to frequent it because you can't eat a ton of pizza when you're on a journey to, fit into your dress clothes again. But I needed it today. I needed the substance today. And a hot and ready was great. Let's do comments, shall we? I think we had a couple on Spotify, over at Spotify's comments section. And I think we had a couple on YouTube. We have one on YouTube from Roberta. It said this about the snowpocalypse, the 3 weirdest work days that I've ever had. She said the snowpocalypse broadcast and COVID broadcasts made another reason of why Jay and Kevin were the best. And we honor you for making it all happen. Don't honor me for making it all happen. That's not why I brought up those days, Roberta, but thank you. They were just fun. They were just wild days to work. But yeah, snowpocalypse and COVID days were crazy days to work in radio. Those were crazy days. And Roberta, thank you for listening to those. Okay, this is on Spotify. Yvonne says this: wrestling with my boys was always fun when they were younger. Now wrestle with my grandson, and does he wear me out? The dinner at the table doesn't happen at our house. Used to when the boys were younger. I could see it going away as the kids get older, Yvonne, and you know, sports start to happen and activities start to happen more often. I can see this going away. I really want to focus on making sure we're doing it at least a couple nights a week. I really want to focus on that. I really value it. And I know it's going to slip. I know it, especially with 3 kids. If they all get into stuff, that's going to be tough. I already know tomorrow night, Monday night, my daughter has gymnastics. She's not going to be home at dinner. They're going to eat. Well, maybe they'll eat and run just real quick and get out of there. But I see what you're saying. Also, the wrestling with the kids. I wrestled with Huck so much today. He is going to sleep. He might sleep through Monday. Sharon said this. Sharon said, okay, here's a Survivor comment. I cannot stand Sue. Sharon, I'm with you. I am with you. I think she's playing a terrible game. I do not get it, Sam. I do not get how people come in and think after years and years of this failing that being super alpha is going to be a long-term play in Survivor. It never works. Super alphas, it does not work. And she is super alpha and thinks it's going to work. It's not, Sue. And it's really hard to watch. Okay, that's it. Thank you for tuning into your favorite 15-minute podcast. I really appreciate it. Again, thanks to the people who support the podcast. If you can and you want to, you go over to patreon.com/Sean Whitmer podcast. The Seahawks don't play Monday Night Football, so Trivia 21 should be a go on Tuesday, unless I somehow forget again while I'm drowning my sorrows in tears after a Monday Night Football loss for whoever it is who's playing tomorrow night. But I can't imagine I'm going to be that emotionally invested into it. Okay, thank you for tuning in.